Hi, these comments are for S. This is Michael from BetterTOEFLScores.com. I'm listening to the speaking practice test you sent me. I think it was yesterday. So I have the independent speaking rubrics right here, and we have your practice
I
test. Here
think
we
it is
go.
bad idea to spend too much time watching sports programs. For one, it can have a detrimental impact on our life in general. I remember when my brother was high schooler.
Now, if you go to the example of your brother, you might use a transition word like for instance or to illustrate. When my brother was in high school, blah, blah, blah. So find maybe three or four opportunities to use transition words in your response to help show the organization of your
He
ideas.
got obsessed with watching soccer ball games all the time. And guess what? He actually failed all of his classes because simply he had no time to take care of his
Okay, he what? You want to say he failed, right?
time. And guess what? He actually failed all of his
He actually failed. You didn't quite clearly pronounce failed and then the grammatical word ending.
classes because simply he had no time to take care of his classes or his final tests. And I think until today he still suffers from the impact of his behavior
You say, and they think today, who is they? And instead of and, you might say furthermore or in addition.
back then. Another thing is that if we like sports, it's better for us to go and do sports ourselves instead of watching a group of people doing sports. I believe it will give us a lot of benefits.
Yeah, but what benefits will it give you? So you left you ended the response with a very open-ended observation there. How about it'll leave us with educational and maybe health benefits, if we participate in sports. So your second idea wasn't very developed, so you didn't have a lot of elaboration. The first point was pretty good. You talked about your brother.
I think it is bad idea
Can we listen to it one more time? I'm thinking you're probably right around 22 to 24 points out of 30 on
to
this.
spend too much time watching sports programs. For one, it can have a detrimental impact on our life in general. I remember
But don't talk about things in general, talk about things in specific. Because that's the whole purpose of your example is to help illustrate how watching sports programs on TV can be harmful.
when my brother was high schooler, he got obsessed with watching soccer ball
So my brother was a high schooler who, not he, who got obsessed. So you're using kind of very basic, very simple grammar. You want to combine some of your simpler sentences to create complex sentences. I think that's going to help you with your syntactic variety. I have a good lesson for you for that, by the way. Go over to bettertoeflscores.com. In the search box for my blog, type in the keywords TOEFL sentence variety. That's a good lesson for you.
games all the time. And guess what? He actually failed all of his classes because simply he had no time to take care of his classes or his final tests. And I think until today he still suffers from the impact of his behavior back then. Another thing is that if we
So
like
he,
sports, it's better
so how does he suffer now from his impact from that behavior? Did it make it more difficult for him to get into a college, or did he not go to college? If he didn't, then what effect has that had on his life in terms of the kinds of jobs that he has and how much money he can earn? Does he have a good standard of living now or not because of those choices he made as a high schooler?
for us to go and do sports ourselves instead of watching a group of people doing sports. I believe it will give us a lot of benefits.
Okay, so when I'm looking at it, I don't think there's too many delivery problems. You have a fairly good speaking rate. You don't have a lot of pauses and hesitations. You got a good voice. You're very smooth. It's easy to listen to you. When you get into language use, I think that you are somewhat limited in the range of structures used, both vocabulary wise and grammar wise. So you need to work in that area. And your overall development is limited and it lacks elaboration or specificity. You did talk about your brother, but you probably could have gotten even more specific than what you did. So I'm going to give you, like I said a minute ago, 22 to 24 points on this practice test.